Well, hello, dear ones. Robert Brzezinski with you. Today is Friday, the 10th of April. And that means it's time for Ask A Minster Anything. So, the whole premise of this is that I'm going to be here for the next couple hours. I've got and I've got a couple of friends that are going to drop in and say hello along the way. We're going to tell you about some great spiritual resources that are happening. I'm communicating with all kinds of people in the background. So just know that, yes, I am with you, I promise. And we're going to have some spiritual fun as well. We're going to have some time of reflection. And really the idea is I'm here to answer any question you might have. And all you got to do is drop your questions in the chat box. I'll see those. I'm happy to answer those. If you'd like to come on air with me and actually become part of this live experience, because I can do that, then just shoot me a message. I'll send you a quick DM with a chat link, and you can jump into the room and we'll actually bring you right into this broadcast live. So, and if you're a minister that wants to plug something or say hello, drop in. I'm going to be here for 2 hours. We're going to do some prayer work together, but we're really just here. We're here to chat and to talk and to answer whatever questions you might have. I do have some music queued up that maybe we'll share a video or something and talk about that. But really the premise is to give anybody that wants an opportunity to ask any question they want. And there might be a couple of things that are a little over the line that I wouldn't answer, but ultimately I'm here to answer any questions you might have. So why don't we get this whole thing started with just a quick centering prayer. If you're in a place where it's safe to close your eyes, please do so. If you're comfortable, and just allow yourself to breathe and be. Let go of whatever it took to be witness to this experience, to be part of this experience. Put all that aside and just breathe. Breathe and be, and allow yourself to express God. The magnificence, the glory, the absolute majesty of God. Picture that in your mind right now. What I know is I know there is truly only one God, one form of, one expression of life. And that expression takes form as all humanity, all of human life, all of the furry creatures and the winged creatures, the scaly creatures, the creepy crawly creatures, all part of this one thing called life. And so in that, we have an opportunity to be open to whatever Spirit puts before us. And that is what today is all about. I recognize this time, this experience as blessed and a blessing. For it is here that we allow Spirit to present itself, to represent itself, to reveal its truth through and as our lives, through and as this experience. So I am in a place of knowing that all is well, everything's perfect, and I am grateful for whatever happens. Because whatever comes next has got to be good, because it's got to be God. And it really could be no other way. And so I release this word into the law that is already acting upon it, and I just say, and so it is. And so it is. So thank you, dear ones, for joining me. My name is Robert Brzezinski, and this program is called Ask A Minster Anything. And wouldn't you know it, I've already got a dear friend with me, Dr. John Michael Salvato. How are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm very well, my brother. How are you?
We're doing well. Two teenagers and I used to think this was a big house. But how about
The
you?
teenagers I have to contend with are both 40 and 50, but I feel your pain.
Exactly. So, folks, Dr. John Michael is a great friend, lives in Pennsylvania. this man has been everything from a religious science minister or practitioner, excuse me, to a Franciscan. I don't know exactly how far up the ladder you went in that organization there, and now embracing his true nature as a witch, Dr. John
And
Marcus.
kind of doing all those things all along.
Yes. So share us, tell us a little bit more. How do we stay in touch with you, and what's your question today?
Well, I really wanted to jump in and just see how folks were doing there at Mile High, and to ask your perspective from a science of mind or new thought perspective on how we make a connection. Something I talked about earlier today on my show. How we make that connection between the pain and loss and suffering we're experiencing in this pandemic, and the crucifixion mythos, the story of the crucifixion and that pain and loss and suffering that we see in that story. I was really interested when you reached out to me this morning and said you were going live. I was really interested in hearing your perspective on that, because I so enjoy that perspective.
Gotcha. Right on. Yeah, absolutely. Let's dig into that one, folks. Two questions there. Number one, as far as I can tell, everybody at Mile High is doing great. It is a very large congregation, and while I'm not directly involved with the inner workings, I've got a lot of friends there. And what I know is they are busier than ever, especially the ministerial team, because everything is changing. And the face of ministry is changing dramatically, radically, and in real rapid, in a very short amount of time here. I'll tell you, both my kids are heavily involved, and both the middle school group and the teen group now have twice a week Zoom calls, Wednesday evening and Sunday Zoom calls, where all these kids are piling into a Zoom room together and hanging out, and they still still put in their earbuds and disappear and find ways for us to not know what's going on. Teenagers, right? So that's really good. So things are progressing, and it seems like they're on top of their online game. So just like everybody, folks, a lot of communities are experimenting with things, and a lot of them are running into some amount of problems here or there or this or that. And what I'm finding is it's rarely the community's fault. It's often just, we're using 3 times as much bandwidth, and there's 20 times as many people online at any given minute than there ever was before. And even Mile High had a rough Wednesday night service where whatever was in the system, there was a ghost, and the recording turns out perfect. So my invitation is, if you're watching live streams with people and things aren't going right, things get buggy, freezing, buffering, be patient with the folks that are pulling their hair out trying to figure it out, and remember the recording's going to turn out perfect. So, but on to your more important question. I'm not a biblical scholar by any means, and my understanding of the crucifixion is Jesus represented humanity's disbelief in an all-powerful and an all-loving and an all-creative God. And for me, the crucifixion has always been about this one divine being, this way shower, being willing to surrender everything to try to help humanity see a greater truth, one that it can't see, one that it's not willing to accept. And yeah, in this pandemic, I think we're seeing a lot of that same thing as well. There are so many people right now that are blinded, that are hurt, right? And that didn't, and in the Jesus story, those doing the crucifying, they're not really wrong. They're just, from my perspective, it's a rather immature perspective of their life, of their connection to the divine, of their expression here on the planet. And that's what I'm seeing today. It's not that I've been kind of pushing back against some of the conspiracy theories that are out there, and people are connecting dots that are like, man, I'm not sure how you got there with a spliced up video and no real proof, but I'd kind of like to see some sources.
If they could stretch as much in their real lives as they are with these conspiracies, chiropractors would go out of business.
Yes, exactly. And yoga studios, now that you
Yeah.
say that, right? So I see a lot of people, and sometimes this is coming from people that I have a pretty high perspective of. I've really like, wow, from you're now spreading this stuff. And what I've come to realize is, number one, we're in unprecedented times. Nobody knows what they're doing. Even those of us that seem to have our shit together don't, on at certain times and for certain things. There was a story yesterday that I'm not going to talk about that hit my desk, and man, I was a mess for an hour, railing against all of it. And that's the humanness. That's okay. We cannot make the human wrong. We have to be compassionate and embrace that the human piece of us is going through something unprecedented. We've never been here before, and nobody really has any friggin' clue how it's going to end or when it's going to end. So during this, I've got to be gentle with people, but I don't have to buy in to the disbelief, to the belief in separation and division. But I also want to be able to, and I just had the thought that I wanted to share. I have to recognize that some people's spirituality is not quite matured. And what they're sharing are immature perspectives of how God's law works, of how the divine law works, of how that universal law of oneness is actually operating in our lives. So a kind of a long-winded answer, but right, Jesus was put up on the cross to mend the sense of separation and division that was apparent. I believe this virus has been brought to us, and in many reasons, and for many reasons, but one of the paramount ones is to heal the sense of separation and division that has been so apparent on our planet during these last years.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
And that's perfect timing, because I just heard maintenance come in the door. Listen, I love you, and give my love to Laura and the kids, and have a wonderful weekend, my brother.
Absolutely. You as well, my brother. We'll talk again soon, I trust.
Take care.
Take care. John Michael Salvato. I'll make sure I leave a link in the description later. Tag him later so you can check in and say hello to him if you like. And that's what this is all about. I know what I know, and I know there's a whole bunch of stuff I don't know. and there's still a whole bunch of stuff that I don't know that I don't know. Right? I know there's stuff I don't know. I don't know how to do brain surgery. I don't know how to. I'm not an accountant. You can ask my wife that. But what I do know is there is one source of wisdom, of knowledge, of truth. Now, that one source is all pervasive. It's across it's in every one of us. Every one of us has an access to that truth, a reservoir of that truth. We each have a direct pipeline to that ultimate and divine truth. The tricky part for me is that divine truth has to come through this human body, and it has to come through this human experience. And the human, because we are all unique, because we are not the same drop in the ocean, we're all unique drops within the ocean. that truth has to filter through me, through my experiences, through what I've lived in my life, from where I've been, from who I've bumped into, from where I've mucked up, and where I've disrespect, right? All the whole sum, the whole mass of my 50 plus years on the planet gives me a unique perspective. Okay, yeah, I got that. So the divine truth has to manifest and demonstrate through my hands. It just can't poof. Well, maybe it can. I haven't seen that. I'm not going to say it's not possible. Though the divine truth has to manifest through me and through my life and as my life. And in that, that divine truth is going to be shaped. It's going to be affected. It's going to be influenced by me, by who I am, by that collective experience. And that's why in religious science, we say that you have the power to change the conditions of your life based on the power of this word, based on the power of your word, because your word is creative into the universe. So the divine downloads, the absolute truth that is available, in some cases gets perverted dramatically into conspiracy theories and lies and outright accusations and attacks. And we each have the ability to take that divine truth and outpicture it and express it into the world as love and light, as creative expression, as the beauty we see around us. Right now, more than ever, I believe, fully believe, we're being called to um, express that divine truth in a direction of what we do want to experience rather than a direction of what we don't want to experience. So right now, there's a lot of people, I see it every day all over the place, people that are scared. I get that. It's okay. And those are the folks that I want to encourage to make sure we look towards the future. Look toward the fact that there's got to be some light in here somewhere. There's got to be some love in here somewhere. There has to be some amount of good, even when we can't see it, in here somewhere. Because the alternative is to go down the rabbit hole of, oh, Schnuggles, if that happens and this happens and this happens and oh, and what if this happens, and hey, what if we never have professional sports again? I wouldn't say that. Well, that's another debate for another time. The point is, we can ride the spiral up or we can ride the spiral back down. Either direction. That's the ultimate choice that we as humans get. We have that luxury. We have that gift that we get to choose whether we're thinking productive, expansive, growth-oriented thoughts. Do we have a growth mindset? Or are we trying to get back to some past idyllic idea of what life should be, when the truth is there's no going back to where we were, because where we were was part of the problem that got us in the mess we're in right now. A divine mess, a beautiful mess in some cases, a really ugly mess in other cases, but that's the human experience. And we're still left with the choice, will I choose to move towards the good, towards the light, or am I going to stay here and hide out and bitch about the government? Choice is there. We get that choice in each and every day. Where we're going to go with it, what we're going to do with it, that's another question. So, okay, folks, this is Ask a Minister Anything. We're about 20 minutes into the program. I promise. Last week I did this for an hour. This week I'm promising myself I'll be here for 2 hours. So, if you got to drop off, come check it out again a little later. If you don't like what you're hearing now, check in a half hour. You might hear something different, something you do like. And I've invited a couple of my friends to join us. They may drop in at any time. We don't know. However, if you have something that you're grappling with, if you have a question you're just not sure how to answer or what it means or what perspective is going to be supportive in this time, then let's get you on the program. Drop me a comment in the chat box. I'll see that. If you'd like to come on the show directly, I'm more than happy to bring you into the program. I'll send you a quick link. You hit the link. Next thing you know, you're here with me live on Facebook and YouTube. So more than happy to bring you into the conversation and share a little bit. Or if it's something you just want to get some prayer work done around, by all means, please send me a prayer request, revbriz@spiritevolving.com. More than happy to share a prayer with you. I'll put it in my prayer book. Make sure that we hold on to that for you. Pray on that a couple times a day on this prayer book, actually. Or we can get on the phone and do a prayer for you directly that way. So the program's called, and that email address again is revbriz@spiritevolving.com. I promise you I will get on your prayer requests. Been spending a lot of time praying for a lot of people these past few weeks, and I love that. So that's a big part of what it's all about. And I do want to share, while we've got a little time, do remember that New Thought Radio, which is the newest, the primary and the first arm or first leg of the New Thought Media Network, new ministry I'm working on. NewThoughtRadio.net is a great opportunity to check out some positive music and some positive radio. And what I'd love to do is just briefly here share with you a little bit about what New Thought Radio looks like right now and where we're going with it. So I'm going to share a screen here with you in just a second. As soon as I can pull this up, where'd it go? I set up so many of these things just perfectly. Here it is. So this is what New Thought Radio looks like currently. And if I go over here and I hit play.
Radio, music from all your favorite New Thought artists. From Jamie Lula, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, Ricky Byers, Daniel Nahmont, Eddie Watkins Jr.,
So New Thought Radio.
24/7 New Thought Radio. Positively inspiring.
And I had no idea that a promo was playing. But we've got 5 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is Robin Hackett playing Now She Dances. And that's what it looks like right now, folks. That's what the station looks like. However, what I do want to also show you is what it can look like. Because what it can look like and what it's going to look like as I continue to get more and more work done on this. We're playing on this in the background, and there it is. This is what it's going to look like, and we'll share a little bit more. Got a player over here. And now she dances past the corner where she used to wait for love. So a little bit of Robin Hackett, but we're going to have room for our videos, podcasts, all of our different shows on the station. But her feet, they keep on moving. And you'll be able to play the station right there out of the website. So I'm personally just really, really excited about this. New Thought Radio, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all your positive New Thought artists, and just a whole bunch of great music, good vibrations. Keep your vibration up throughout the day. So, all right, Ask a Minister Anything. I'm going to be here until 11 o'clock Mountain Time. I trust you can all do the translations as far as time frames. I'll be here till 11 o'clock Mountain Time. And the premise is very simple. Ask me anything. Drop a comment in the comment box. Let me know what it is that is going on in your life, if there's something you'd like prayer around, and I'll be happy to share that with to share with you a spiritual perspective. And if it's something that works for you, great. And if it's something that doesn't work, hey, then you get to throw it away. Either way, it's up to you. And I do trust that a few of my friends are going to drop in here. A couple of them have said they're working on it and want to drop in and say hello as we go along today as well. All right. Well, let's see. I don't see any comments or questions at the moment. However, let's talk about what should we talk about? I know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about hope. Seen this thing going around, and it's people are putting teddy bears in their windows, and children are starting like community-wide I Spy games. One young girl, I saw this story, and I actually featured this in one of my podcasts, The Good News and Now the Good News. And got into her community neighborhood's Facebook page and started an I Spy game. And the idea was that she started several different themes. So one of them was like St. Patrick's Day. So she asked everybody to put something in their windows that represented St. Patrick's Day. And that way, the children that were out walking and adults, people that were out getting some exercise, would be able to see and find these different I Spy game items. And it's come to teddy bears as well. And so there's a movement across the nation. People are putting teddy bears in their windows and making it kind of a hunt for kids. And they can go out on a teddy bear hunt, see how many teddy bears they find. My kids have got theirs up in the windows, and my son's got a big 5-foot brown bear hanging out his window every day, letting the fresh air in, and the bear looks like he's trying to climb out. So fun stuff there. But my point is that these things give hope, and hope is great. Right now, as a collective body, as the life of God, as the oneness that is spirit, we need all the hope we can get. Signs that remind us that we will hug again. Signs that remind us this is not the end of us, that we shall weather this storm, that no storm lasts forever. And I like that we have hope. However, I don't want us to stop at hope. Hope is not the destination. I believe that we want to move beyond hope and move into a place of absolute trust. Hope's a good place to start, but hope still leaves room for doubt. Hope means, well, this is what I really want, but it could turn out some other way. So I really hope that this comes through. And again, right now, when things look the darkest, we have to start with the basics, with baby steps. So it may take a little while to move from hope to trust in this. But what I'm encouraging you is, don't stop at hope. Keep moving forward. Move forward, move forward. Keep moving into a place of trust. I trust that this is going to happen. I trust that we are weathering this storm. I trust that the money that is necessary to pay the bills will show up. I trust that the organizations and companies that I deal with are finding ways to keep their people safe. I trust that the people working on vaccines and looking for ways to alleviate this have the best interest of humanity at heart. Hope's not a bad thing. It's where we start. but we can't let the basic building blocks of our lives be where we end. We have to keep striving for the greater. And in this case, hope leads to trust. What is it you're trusting in? I think that's one of the best questions. What is it that you trust in the world? Where do you place your trust? And if that leads you to, well, I definitely don't trust these guys, or I definitely don't trust those guys, and that's usually a political discussion. Now remember, politics isn't bad. I still have a dream in my heart to start a full-on political talk show. Politics and spirituality, politics in the light of the science of mind. I think there's a lot of great material there. However, my point here again is we want to move into a place where we are trusting the information that comes our way, that we trust there is a greater vision manifesting than we've ever known, where we trust that God's got this. And there is only one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence. It's expressing as all of life. It's expressing as my life, your life, every life. And that oneness has got this. This isn't the end of the one. This isn't human extinction time. Now, are some businesses going to go under? Yeah. Are some old paradigms going to crumble? Yes. Do we really need to spend? I think I see it in the education system, right? It's been tough on the kids to not be with their friends. However, my son is able to complete, for the most part, the work that he's being assigned in 2 or 3 hours. So how much faster could our education system move if we didn't have all these big, huge buildings and all these big, huge fields and all this big, huge cost associated with it? I don't know that's what's going to happen. And honestly, I don't think that the education system is going to fail. But there are other industries. There are other organizations. There are other ways that we've lived and that we've brought ourselves to, that their time is done. Their time is over. And one of the tenets of spiritual philosophy or religious science is that this one thing, and you can call this oneness by any name, right? God, Allah, Brahma, Buddha, Vishnu, Kuan Yin, Source Energy, Divine Mother, Gaia, Love. In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes uses dozens of words, spirit, to refer to the divine, to the whole, to absolute reality. There's another good one. So if you don't mind me using the word God, God takes on form and then abandons that form in order to take on new form, different form. There's one energy, it's all about, it's unlimited, and the oneness takes on form and eventually abandons that form so that it can take on new form. I trust I don't have to tell the story of the buggy whip manufacturers, right? Well, right now, on a global level, we are seeing this. And I'll tell you, it's not like it. I've watched, I've heard, I've listened to ministers, practitioners, great leaders in all areas, in politics, in health, in everywhere, spiritual and secular. And for years now, people have been talking about the decline, how things are falling apart. Things are changing and crumbling. Anybody remember Kodak? Anybody remember Blockbuster? Things just go by the wayside because they really don't, because they have to. But the other part is we get to rebuild and we get to change and we get to create something new as well. So So I know Spirit's trying to get in touch with me because my phone's ringing, but that's not who I'm going to pick up on. I've got a friend of mine here who dropped in, waiting in the green room. My dear friend, Reverend Elzia Sekou. How are you doing today this morning, sir? Oh, I don't have a volume on you. Let's check your mic settings there real quick. Live broadcast, folks. Gotta love it. Playing without a net. No, not yet either.
This is doing me. How about now?
There you are. Now we got you. So
There we go.
perfect. Oh, I'm gonna say hello and do a quick introduction. Reverend Elzia and I are great friends. We went to ministerial school together, and we've done a bunch of different projects together. And I'm just gonna promote real quick here, Z. I've got a screen I want to share with everybody. Where is it? Oh, that's right. LZ and I just launched a podcast this morning. However, the program we use didn't populate the website yet. So I can't share it from that website with everybody. But we just started a podcast that I think you're going to love. It's called Ministers Talking Bleep. You can figure out what the bleep means. And it's a great opportunity for us to get together and talk about current events, talk about the real world. So I'm going to leave a link in the comments of this video a little later. When we get done, I'll leave a link in there so you can check that out at another time. But Z, my brother, how are you doing? You've got a big event coming up this weekend, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It starts in it is called a New Paradigm Shift, and it's a 2-day event. Starts at 9:30 Pacific time and goes for 4 hours today and again tomorrow. It's going to be a great event. Dr. Reverend Leon is there, Leon Campbell is there, and Reverend Muwata and Joe Stedman. It's going to be a great event. If you go to my Facebook page, you should see a link there to go in and register. It's free. So all it costs is your time and your open heart and mind. So if you have some time, stop by. It'd be a great deal.
Right on. I will make sure again, folks, that I leave links in the comments for all this stuff as we go through today. So Z, it feels like you and I, we get to talk a lot more than we have for quite a while anymore, and not just because of this project we're working on, but because of where we are in history.
Yes.
And I guess I'd just love to hear a little bit of your perspective. Where are we? How do you see all this, and how do you see it playing out? And for folks watching, remember, drop a comment or a question in the comment box. We'll make sure to answer your questions as we go along here today.
Well, I mean, we've heard, I think, varying answers to this question in many different ways, but I think they all boil down to, in my mind, this is a great opportunity as opposed to a catastrophe that some people are saying, in that it gives us an opportunity to really look at the interrelatedness of this whole planet.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from the ground all the way up to us, because we're all interrelated. And when we lose sight of that, and we begin to value one aspect of it over another, that moves us out of balance.
Right.
And I saw this. I'm going to do a selfless plug. I hope I don't get in trouble, but there's a program on National Geographic called One Strange Rock, where Will Smith hosts, and he's talking to a bunch of astronauts. But there's a scene in one of them where they have 100,000 monks praying and meditating for unity and oneness in front of a temple that is made from 1 million Buddhas.
Oh, wow.
And the whole ceremony is about bringing balance back to the planet. And that's at every level. and I think this is showing us right now that we have to be balanced in everything.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's for me, that's my mantra: how to find balance at all levels of life.
Gotcha. All right. Well, this is called Ask a Minister Anything. So, how do you personally, are you creating that balance right now? And how is that different from a month ago?
And now that's a good question, because at this present moment, I'm not doing a whole lot different in terms of activities. I'm not getting as much physical activity as I need or would like, and that's up to me. But I think the first part of that shift is to do the same things we've been doing to get a start, but the key is to do it with more awareness, to not do it in automatic robot mode, to not do it just because it's something that you are expected to do, like say good morning to your wife or hi to the kids. Be aware of what's going on and how it affects you, and what you're trying to communicate or convey is going to be key. And from there, I think the lens will open up and we'll see more opportunities to find the balance and be able to have those great opportunities, whether they're in conversation or physical activity or creative expression, to make it, a brand new day, as we say.
Yeah, good. Right on. Good, good, good. Well, we got a shout out from a good friend, Lisa Bear. And Lisa Bear is joining us this morning. Welcome, girl. I'm glad you're here with us. And perhaps, Lisa, if you want to join us, let me know. We'll drop you a link and you join on into the conversation. See, it's that easy, folks. Ask a Minister Anything. I'm going to personally be here till 11 o'clock Mountain Time. I know Z's going to have to drop out here in a minute or two. We're here to answer questions, ask questions, chat, maybe throw around a little whatever, maybe share a video or anything. But the idea is to be available, be real with what's going on in the world, and be here for you guys. So please, if you've got a question, drop it into the comment box. We'll be happy to answer that. Or if you'd like to join in live and ask your question of myself or one of our ministers that drops in live, just let me know. So perfect. Z, you got a few more minutes?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So help everybody understand here. We're going to do another little almost shameless plug. We've got this new podcast, you and I.
Yeah.
And we've recorded an episode. Help people understand a little bit from your perspective. What are we trying to accomplish with this thing?
Well, I think first of all, I think I listened to the first episode early this morning before the chickens got up, as they say in the country, and I was very pleasantly surprised, and I shouldn't say that, but I was, because it came out very nice, and I think it spoke to I think what the new marching orders, if you will, are going forward, which is how do we actualize these creative plans, these spiritual ideas and philosophies? How do we take them beyond the theoretical and the everyday conversation, and how do we put them into practice? And I think that, we have enough philosophies and ideologies and ancient literature and new literature to last a lifetime. But what I think we're lacking a little bit in is the actual practice of those, as opposed to the debate of the espousing of those. And I think one of the key features that we're looking at is, how do we talk the bleep, get the idea stirred around, get it popped up, and then what actions can we take in that direction? Some people will go 100%. Some people will do 0% on that particular thing, and that's okay, because that brings the balance in, where we get, everything is not for everybody. My heart does something totally different from my lungs, and the heart never gets mad at the lungs, and the lungs never get mad at the heart. Matter of fact, without one another, neither would exist. And so that's where I think we need to move, and I think that's the kind of topics and ideas we want to put forward in the cast.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, thank you. We should have recorded. Oh wait, we did record that. And folks, as we've been sitting here talking, The website did update. So let me do a quick share screen here, show you where you're going and what you're looking for. It is, man, I got so many
so many windows open.
Well, so many podcasts going. No, it ain't that one. Let's share a different screen here. See, technology without a net. I do love that. No, it's still not there. All right.
It's coming. It's coming. And trust me, I think you're gonna enjoy that inaugural kickoff, if you will, and hopefully you want to come back and chew it up with us.
Exactly. All right, one more try here. Let's see if we can find this. See, I get this great list of pages I can choose to share.
Right.
But unfortunately, it's not showing me the one I want. Huh. Oh, well. All righty. Enough of that.
It's coming. That creates a little anticipation for folks, so that's okay. I think then now they're anticipating. Well, what is this thing? Where is it? What does it look like?
Exactly. And there is a link on my Facebook page. There's a link on Reverend Elzia's Facebook page. So if you know either one of us on Facebook, you'll be able to get that there. So, well, sir, thank you so much for being with us today. I know you got a lot going on.
Yep. But it's all good. It's all fun, and it's all God. So it keeps me busy, and sometimes I want to just find a corner, but that's all part of the process. So it's all good.
Exactly. Great. All right. And tell us again real quick, how do we find this seminar you're part of this weekend?
If you go to my Facebook page, you will see a link there for the New Paradigm Summit. And if you click on the link, it'll take you to a PDF page. And at the bottom, there's a register. You have to register, but it is free. And you just click on that, put in your email stuff so they can send you the link to log in, and boom, you're off and running.
All right. Let's get everybody a peeky peek at your. I'm pasting it in for us now. There we go. And that's how you find Rev Z on Facebook. Facebook.com/lzia.sekou. Check it out. Check out this program he's in this weekend. I know that's going to be. There's a lot of good names on that roster.
Yeah.
It should be really.
We got about 12 speakers, and it's gonna be a blast.
Right on. All right. Well, thank you for dropping in, sir. We're gonna.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Peace and blessings.
All right. Peace and blessings.
So that's how easy it is, folks. If you'd like to join in the program, just drop a comment in the comment box and I'll shoot you a quick link. You can come on in and say hello, and we will we'll answer any question you got. So, and if you don't want to come on the program, but you have a question you'd like answered, please drop that into the chat box as well. Be more than happy to share that. So, for those that maybe are just joining or catching the replay at a later time, this is Ask a Minister Anything, a 2-hour opportunity. I'll be here. We're just approaching about almost 50 minutes in. So, got a little more than an hour left with you today. And the idea is to share inspiration, to chat, to talk, to answer questions, whatever it might be. I like to kind of call this ministry without a net, because they got no idea what's going to happen or who's going to ask what. And, we've already talked about Jesus and the crucifixion this morning here. And those are territories I often don't tread. So if you haven't seen that, well, wait till this is over and catch the replay. Drop in on there. So, and do remember, New Thought Radio, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, positively inspiring tunes all over the place. And I think maybe let's do that for a minute. Let's check out. See, for those that know me, you know that I am just monstrous when it comes to music. I mean, it is everything and more. So I can't go very far without some music. And here's something I want to share with you. This is really unique. If you may not know, back in a few years back here, I received my ordination through the Centers for Spiritual Living, and we have a unique process. You're licensed for a number of years before you get ordained. That way, we're really sure that the ordination is going to stick. And in that, after your ordination, you get to create a ceremony. And I brought together Gary Lynn Floyd and Daniel Nahmod on the same stage, first time they'd ever sung together publicly in or in a performance. And this is what happened. Check it out. Or maybe not. We're having some interesting experiences with the share screen today. Let's try again.
Landed on my feet. I can't believe it. I really made it. Straight from the heart of me. And I have never felt so good in my life. Never been so sure that I'm all right. Never stood so tall about what I've done. And the best part is I've just begun. So get ready, my soul.
Yeah, a little bit of long hair there.
I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in into the deepest kind of love, into the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul.
And you know, this is, to me, this is where, this is exactly what we're being called to right now. To get ready. To get ready to dive into what comes next. And nobody really knows what that is. However, what I know is I know we have the power to create what's next. We can create heaven here on earth, and we can create a living hell. My hair is doing that living hell thing. We can create whatever it is that we want in our lives. Let's go back to Gary and Daniel.
Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to this present moment here, to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now.
Right? Get ready, my soul. Everything has brought us to this moment, folks. There's no question about it. Life, our beliefs, the collective beliefs of society, every piece, this is the natural outcoming of evolution on our planet. But it's not the end. It can't possibly be the end. There must be something more. There must be the next great yet to be. There must be more to this grand vision for human life on the planet. Now, again, it might be really tough to see that right now. I get that. I have a tough time seeing where this is all going. Because my ministry, my life looks absolutely nothing like it did 2 months ago. Looks absolutely nothing like I imagined it would at this point. Looks absolutely nothing like the strategic plan that I had put out for this ministry and where it would be at this time. And yet here's where we are. So the only question is, how do we work with what is? How do we right now work with what is going on in our worlds, in our families, in our homes? We're in uncharted territory. And that means we have to now, more than ever, rely on each other. Not just ourselves, but rely on each other. Rely on rely on the higher power. Rely on every part of it. Whatever shows up is what's necessary. So for some reason, and I can't say exactly why, I've got my ideas, but for some reason, we're all being told by spirit, just stay the heck away from each other for a little while. And I believe we're being called to turn within. Even the busiest of people, I believe, have more time now than ever before to look within and really reflect. And what's essential? I've been talking about this for days. What is essential and what isn't? Right? What really, there's so many memes that fly around in social media, right? About, we now know who the essential people are in our economy, but there's so many people that still don't believe they're worth at least $15 an hour or more. I believe more. Ask a minister anything. What questions are on your heart? What questions are on your mind? Drop a comment in the comment box. Let me know what questions you'd like me to talk about. And if you'd like to come on the program and ask that question live, we can make that happen as well. I'll send you a direct message. You shoot you a quick link. You can jump in and off we go. And we'll chat. And we'll pray if you want. But I've committed to myself to be here for another hour. Did an hour last week, doing 2 hours this week. We're halfway through. In the immortal words of Arlo Guthrie, I'm not tired. I'm not proud either. We're doing what is. I'm just showing up because Spirit's telling me this is what needs to happen, wants to happen. If nothing, training for me for the future. But I have to believe there's something more that's happening here too. That whether there's anybody watching this live or watching it later, somebody's going to find some value in what we're talking about here. So I do talk a lot about what comes next. And I want to continue to talk about that because I don't believe we're in the midst of creating nirvana. I don't think that in 4 or 5 months we're going to have Valhalla on, right? This is going to get more and more ugly. But we're not done here. Right? We're just now, I believe, some people are just really starting to get a grasp of some meaning behind all of this. And as I talked about in an earlier segment this morning, systems are crumbling. Things are falling by the wayside. I think we're going to see a wholesale change to things like how we vote. and who we vote for. I think we're going to see wholesale changes to our education system. I think we're going to see wholesale changes to how church is done, to how spiritual communities connect and thrive and are together or are together remotely. I saw one yesterday, and I'm doing my best to stay away from the fear and the conspiracy and the what I kind of call awfulizing. Or I refuse. My wife shared this one with me the other day, and I love. She said, I refuse to participate in future forecasting of suffering. I refuse to participate in the future forecasting of more suffering. Now, to me, that's big, because I'm not here to go down that spiral and look for the bad and look for the ugly and look for how awful and how much more suffering we have to go through. What I want to look towards is, where are we going? And I see a world where there is a resurgence, where people are more concerned with human interaction than they are with just making a buck. I do envision a world where borders become irrelevant as we awaken to the truth that we are one human family. I do envision a world where forgiveness of debts is the norm, where people work together to bring forward a greater perspective, a greater experience of life on the planet. Centers for Spiritual Living's got a mighty vision of a world that works for everyone. And I believe that's attainable. And there are those that would argue, well, it already is, according to their own belief system. Yes. And I'm looking for a world where everybody knows that it's working for them, where everybody's fully awake and aware to the truth that this world is working for everyone. And that sometimes that's tough work. Sometimes that's tough work. And in the coming days and weeks and months and years, as we see some of these old paradigms fall and crumble and dissolve, dissipate back into the nothingness from whence they came, we're going to see new innovation. We're going to see new ways of commerce. We're going to see new forms of economy rise up. I think my belief is we're going to see a whole new group of people start getting involved in politics. I think you're going to see an uprising of young folk taking earlier leadership, especially in places like politics. I think we're going to see new opportunities to be together and to define what it means to be a community, right? Here in Colorado, we're doing this thing every night at 8 o'clock to go out and howling at the moon, howling for each other. And our governor encouraged it as a way to feel and express connection, even in the midst of being physically separated, not socially isolated, just physically separated for a time, for a short period. In the grand scheme of life, this is a short period. And we've been going out and howling at 8 o'clock. And it's a great show. It's a great expression of release. But it's also one of the ways that we're staying connected. It's a new way to stay connected with the community that's close by, because you can't hear my howling a mile away. No, maybe you can, I don't know. But we hear the neighbors, and we're reminded that we have neighbors. Walking around, and right now, right, all we're allowed to do is go out to exercise. And walking the trails, I see so much art by kids art, chalk art all over the place, and little obstacle courses and exercise courses in this drawn in chalk on the sidewalks. And People are taking a real interest, a truly authentic sense of caring for their neighbors and the people around them. And LZ and I talked about this on our show, that our brand new podcast just came out this morning. Ministers Talking Bleep. I'll leave a link in the notes for you to catch it. Actually, we do. There's the website right there, ministertalk.transistor.fm. But we were talking about this, that right now there's still too many people in the world that are afraid to make eye contact, right? And I'm out walking the trails, riding my bike. We're wearing masks. People are already 6 feet apart. And then somebody comes down the trail, and all of a sudden I've got to be more than that. Now I'm avoiding people. And I think you're going to see that change, because now is the time. And I encourage you, if you're out for a walk, if you're out getting exercise, if you have to go to the supermarket, first off, stay home. But if you have to go out, if you're an essential worker, you have to go out. Now more than anything, we've got to show caring and compassion and love for each other and the connection. And maybe that's a smile, maybe it's a wave. It really doesn't matter what it is. Just don't look away. Don't treat your neighbor like a leper because they're wearing a mask. Don't hide from society. You know, Facebook and Instagram, all these social media platforms, YouTube, they're all seeing a huge increase in usage. And it's putting some strains on their systems, because these guys, most of their employees are at home now too. Most of their businesses are running on very small staff. Because I'm pretty sure Facebook is not essential. I don't know what we'd be doing without it. Well, we might be doing a lot more real study. But we've got the opportunity here online now. There are so many classes, so many offerings, more people than ever before praying together live on Facebook, more people than ever attending Sunday services live on Facebook, and more than ever, people are attending more than one. It's easy. You can catch an East Coast show when you wake up. You catch somebody in the Midwest an hour. You catch somebody in the mountain zone. You catch somebody on the East. You could sit around. You could sit in church all day long on Sunday right now. Whatever church you want to, whatever church, and whatever minister you want to listen to. Somebody else shared with me, they some dear friends, ministerial friends that are they've been around. They've been in the movement. Well, I don't want to say they've been around the block, right? They've been in the movement long enough to know what it really means to be a minister, to minister as a lifetime, as a full lifetime commitment. And 4, 5, 6 months ago now, I forget, they started a new community, and started a small community. And they shared with me that they realized all of a sudden they're global, like that, overnight. This small group of people that was meeting in a living room in the minister's house went global, because they were forced to get online. They were forced to start broadcasting. And now broadcasting to a handful means all of a sudden they've got a global reach, and they have people from around the planet checking them out. People that maybe knew them in a previous iteration experience, or people that are just finding them now. The center that I'm working with, and I'm producing a Sunday morning show for the Center for Spiritual Living Denver. They're seeing an increase in participation, in engagement, in video views, and the face of how we do spiritual community is changing. You know, we're going to come out of this. We'll figure this out. We've got God's on our side. God did not create this thing called life on planet Earth to just arbitrarily wipe us all out. There's been resets like this before. Spanish flu, Black Plague, meteors in the dinosaurs. There have been catastrophic worldwide events before. The difference is, in the past, it was so hard to track. In the past, we had no idea what was going on, and truthfully, we had no idea how to combat it. Now, we do. We have the technology to stay connected. We have there is all the right minds and all the right scientists are already working on everything that needs to be known and wants to be known about this. That's the good news and the interesting news, because there's a lot of people out there that aren't scientists that are professing to be, and there's a lot of disinformation, immature spiritual expressions going on. And still, at the end of the day, it's all good. God's got this. God's going to get us through this. There is only one thing going on here, and it's God's life. And that life is perfect. That life is your life. That life's my life. That life's the life of everyone on this planet. And I've said it before, and I think I said it about an hour ago, we are at that choice point of a great evolutionary leap. And there are those on the planet today that, not consciously, but subconsciously, at the soul level, are saying, I'm done, I'm out, and are choosing to opt out. And man, I send all the prayers to everyone affected by this in any way, and I especially send prayers to the people that aren't opting out, the people that are sticking around. Because we're real close to everybody being 2 or 3 degrees from someone that's opting out, that is taking leave of this planet and moving on and transitioning into a greater dimension of living. That's what I believe. There's no death here. There's no destruction here. The body temple is being released so that the soul may transition into a greater degree of livingness, a greater expression of livingness. And what I know is there are so many people making that shift that a vast majority of them have got to be bodhisattvas. They've got to be here to help usher the next wave of people into that realm. And we're all going to go there eventually. We all get to make that transition. The day comes when every one of us lets go of this bodysuit and moves into that greater dimension of livingness. It's like the water bug that promises his buddies, I'm going to climb up that reed. When I break through to the other side, I'll come back and tell you what it's like. And the water bug climbs up and breaks through and becomes a dragonfly and cannot go back down below the water and tell his friends how great it is, how amazing it is. Now, the human level, I believe that we do actually can communicate back. Abraham Hicks. There's countless stories and channels through which the divine, through which the divine souls are able to communicate to the human realm. But there's just so many that aren't prepared to listen and can't hear. And then that immature spiritual experience wants to make the channels wrong or strange or weird just because the everyday water bug can't hear, can't perceive that there's something greater, something better, something more. Well, there must be, folks. There has to be. Life on planet Earth continues, and life in the divine realms continue as well. And right now, there is a mass exodus going on. There are more souls than most of us want to know making that transition to greater dimensions of livingness. I trust that I'm not making that choice right now. I don't feel I am. And my humanness wants every one of you to stick around, wants every one of you to stay. The divine knows that's not really what's going on. But the humanness wants every one of you to stay, because the humanness wants to experience the next, the greatness, whatever this is that's coming. The humanness within me wants to see that, wants to see you, wants to see how you are progressing and where your life is going to take you and how you're going to show up to serve evolution of humanity, to serve the evolution of human life and where we're going. I want to share another thought. Again, back to music. You guys know how much I love music, and there's a gentleman, a musician who's been around for quite a while, and I've been aware of him, but I never really listened to him. And just recently, I got an opportunity to truly listen. And man, what I heard. This is Harold Payne. Harold Payne's been around for a while. Listen to what he's saying here.
Optimism is contagious. Say it loud and sing it strong. Optimism is contagious. Pick it up and pass it on. Well, hope is a place where one smiling face can make a difference. The positive messages dance past the edges of doubt. It's a ripple, it's a rhythm, it's a movement, it's a beating of drum. Oh, and you can't help but move to its music when it comes. Optimism is contagious. Say it loud and sing it strong. Optimism is contagious. Pick it up and pass it on. Rocks can be smooth and ties can be moved.
Right? Optimism is contagious. Pick it up and pass it along. I love the idea. And I want everybody to be singing this. Optimism is contagious, because what we're experiencing on the planet right now is just the contagiousness of fear and doubt and separation and division and apathy. This virus is nothing more than a metaphysical soup of all of our fears and all of our worries and all the junk that we put out into the universe that just doesn't work. But optimism, that's contagious. Hope. Let's listen to a little more.
Armies disarmed and snakes simply charmed by a tune. It's a candle, it's a beacon, it's a comet, it's a consolation. Oh, so let yourself go and bask in the glow of the illumination. Optimism is contagious. Say it loud and sing it strong.
Yeah, come on, sing
Optimism is contagious. Pick it up and pass it on. Oh, simply divine. It's a state of mind. Oh, do you want to stand in the dark, or do you want to shine? Optimism is contagious. Say it loud and sing it strong.
it, folks.
Optimism is contagious. Pick it up and pass it on. It's a ripple, it's a rhythm. Optimism is contagious. Say it loud and sing it strong. Oh, optimism is contagious. Pick it up and pass it on. Bask in the glow. Optimism is contagious. It's a state of mind. Say it loud and sing it strong. Go ahead and let it shine. Optimism is contagious. Pick it up and pass it on. Pass it on. Pick it up and pass it on. Pick it up and pass it on. Yeah. Pick it up and pass it on.
Pick it up and pass it on. Optimism is contagious. Harold Payne. I encourage you to go listen to everything that man has available. I'm in that process right now. And he did a great YouTube live program. A couple of them now did a tribute to Bill Withers a few days back. And rest in peace, dear Bill. And he also and then did a great show yesterday of his own music, and check it out on Facebook. Find him on Facebook, Harold Payne. That was a really, really good show. And I do believe that we're going to get a chance to do an interview with him very soon for the New Thought Media Network. So do remember, folks, New Thought Media Network, we are a brand new ministry and moving forward in the world. The whole idea is to increase the vibration of the planet through a variety of media streams. Our very first project is New Thought Radio, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, positive tunes for an inspired life. newthoughtradio.net, a great place to get your groove on and listen to your favorite New Thought artists. So please check that out. All right. We're almost into the final home stretch of today's program. I was just looking over at the clock there, and something on my wall caught my eye. But we've got a little over half an hour here, and the whole idea is ask a minister anything. If you've got a question about what's going on in the world right now, how to navigate a situation that you're dealing with, anything like that, drop it in the comment box. I'll be more than happy to pontificate or explore it with you. If you'd like to join the program live and would like to come into the room and join me and ask a question or just share a little bit, we're here for that as well. Just drop me a message and I'll send you a direct link. You can get into this Facebook Live real easy with me if you're watching live. If you're watching on a recording, well then please drop me an email, revbriz@spiritevolving.com. If you're watching on the recording, drop me the email, send in your question. I'll address it in another program. Or if you'd like to get together and do some prayer work, I'm available for that as well. So revbriz@spiritevolving.com. Be happy to connect with you in whatever way best serves. So, it's optimism is contagious. And right now, I think that's what is most being called for as humanity, being called to be optimistic in the face of a pandemic, in the face of what looks like uncalculable horror and suffering and unimaginable. I can't imagine. I can't possibly even begin to imagine what the nurses and the doctors and the orderlies are going through in the hospitals in New York City and other big cities. I can't possibly imagine what it's like to be out there. And now what I do believe is these are some of the most courageous people in the world. Doctors and nurses right now, orderly medical workers, to go to daily put yourself directly in line with the most deadly contagion the planet has ever experienced, and to willingly separate yourself from family, from husbands and wives and children, families. That's real courage, folks. That's superhero level courage. And to do it again, day in and day out, day in and day out. And I saw a video of a woman who been an ER nurse for a long time. Not the first time that patients have died. Not the first time she's witnessed that moment. And this video, she was just sharing how incredibly difficult this is. So today, in this, those of us that have the luxury of being able to stay home, those of us that don't have to go out, our prayer, my prayer more than anything, is a prayer of gratitude for all those that are. I don't go to the grocery store, but I realized I would go to almost every day to the grocery store. Yeah, I'll drop in and get a couple things. Yeah, drop in and get a couple things. Yeah, drop in and get a couple things. Now it's planned. We do everything to make sure we don't forget anything. We plan ahead to try. And to me, those are and I know that some of them feel they have no choice but to be out in the world at this point working. But those are the people that are keeping society running. So my prayers are for them each day, each evening. Raise them up in absolute honor for the work that's being done, and that they're out there doing it. Ask a Minister Anything, folks. Shoot me your questions. I'll be happy to answer them, provide a spiritual perspective, a new thought perspective on whatever it is that's happening in your life, whatever it is that you might want to talk about. We've got about a half an hour left in our program here today. And, there's an old saying, give a minister a microphone. I could go on for hours and hours. You don't want me to. But it does feel right. And Spirit has been telling me this isn't about who's watching or how many are watching. This isn't about how many hits this video gets or how many new people find me because of this thing. This is just real. This is just the time. And yeah, I could be filling this time with all kinds of other stuff, and I've got podcasts to produce, and got a great interview with Eddie Watkins Jr. that I've got to produce and get ready for release, and none of that matters. None of it. what really matters is when we're together, is when people have a chance to connect and communicate and share. That reminds me, a good friend of mine, another one I want you to look up if you happen to see this late part of the video. My dear friend Reverend Savannah Riker is doing a new program on Thursday evening, starts next week. It's just an hour drop-in. She's calling it Savvy Chats. Her nickname is Savvy, so S-A-V-I. And again, a little short for Savannah, but she's doing Savvy Chats on Thursday nights for an hour Pacific time, 6:30 I think it is. You can find her on Facebook. I'll tag her and leave a note in this as well, and try to remember all the people I promised to promote in this program. But the point is, and what's happening is, now more than ever, it's so very important to find time to connect. Whether that's a simple phone call, whether that's a Facebook chat, whether that's dropping in on a live program, and right now, I personally have made a commitment to support my friends, my colleagues, the people that I believe are out there doing the good work. I've made a commitment to do everything I can to support and promote them even more, to help them get seen, and because we're all in this together. And at the core level, now more than ever is the supreme moment to do this work, to do the work of religious science, to do the work of science of mind, to be in consciousness for the evolution, for what's next, for the grand vision. Now more than ever. Ernest, I'm going to paraphrase badly because I don't have my book handy, or within reach at least. But Ernest Holmes said that to deny the truth in the moment of darkness is to prove that we never knew the truth in the first place. It is in that moment when it is the supreme time to do this work. In that moment of doubt, in that moment of darkness, in this dark night of the soul, now is the supreme time to be doing our work in consciousness, to be working in prayer, to be working in meditation, to be envisioning a world that works for everyone, to be looking at, how do I get to play? How do I get to show up? What am I being called to do? And what am I learning about myself through all of this? I trust that if you're like so many of us right now, you're learning more about yourself than maybe you really want to know. We're all learning more about each other. And we're learning more about how to be together, how to be connected, how to really experience and then express the oneness that is God's life as our life on this planet. So I'm just really, really grateful that I get this chance. I'm grateful for the people that have been dropping in and checking this out for a minute or two. I'm grateful to people that have been watching the whole thing all the way along. I'm grateful for those of you watching the video at another time, or maybe skipping through and catching different parts. I'm grateful for the people that'll never see this, because we're still all in it together. Those people that'll never see this are still part of God's life on this planet, still part of the oneness that is this thing called life. So what I know there is a great wisdom that's being awakened on the planet. I know there is an amazing awakening that's happening on the planet right now. And what I know is it's now more than ever is the supreme time to be together. Even though we're not allowed to go out and touch each other, even though we're not allowed to congregate and be in gatherings, now more than ever is the time to invest some time. Make that phone call. Visit with a friend you haven't talked with in a year or 10. Get on a Zoom call with people you've never met and meet somebody new. A couple other friends of mine doing a twice a week, I think it is, they do a coffee hangout on YouTube. And it's predominantly a bunch of people from Tucson. A minister from Tucson started it, and so it's predominantly people from all over the planet, all over the country show up, say hi. It's another opportunity to stay in touch with our humanity by staying in relationship to humans, to humanity. What else you got going on? I mean, if you're out there and you have to go to work and you have to go out into the world, I get it. Now might be a tough time to say, oh, I'm learning more about myself. I'm learning more about this. But for so many of us that are staying home, there is a wealth of opportunity out there to connect. And I really believe that's what it's really all about. Stay connected. Stay tuned in. Don't let the conspiracy theories and the politics and the numbers, don't let all that crap that's streaming by on your wall distract you from the divine mission that you are here to complete, and that is to be an expression of God's life on the planet. You're only going to do that in relationship to others. And right now, the primary way to do that is through remote technologies. So I want to challenge anybody that's listening to this. Jump into something different this week. Here comes the weekend. I'm going to do these on Fridays. So I'm going to do this for a couple hours every Friday. But this weekend, this coming week, jump into something new. Say yes to a Zoom invite that maybe you wouldn't. Attend a freebie webinar that maybe you wouldn't. Pick up the phone and call somebody that's been in your heart but that you haven't talked to. Maybe mend a relationship. Maybe have that conversation with someone that you really, really love and there's division there right now. Now is the supreme moment to be doing our work in consciousness, so we may experience the outpicturing of that consciousness in form in our lives. So we're praying for the planet. We're praying for each other. We're praying with each other. If you're watching this, I imagine you already know about morning and evening prayers. And I've been doing Facebook Lives for 3-4 weeks now. No, not 4 weeks. I think the first one was on the 18th, I think. 18th or 19th of last month. So going into my 3rd week of doing morning and evening prayers live on Facebook. Twice a day, every day. Haven't missed one yet. 8:15 a.m. Mountain Time, and generally at 8:15 p.m. Mountain Time. Sometimes I have to push that back. I've got a Tuesday night class where I'm attending. I'm not even teaching right now. I'm attending a class on Tuesday nights to keep learning, to learn something different, something new. I can't say it's new, but it's different, a different perspective on a topic I know, to learn and to be in community with people. And there's over 500 people in this class. Talk about a Zoom room. Holy schnugga. It's a Zoom room. It's a big Zoom. Over 500 people in this class on Tuesday evenings. And we're having I can't say, oh, we're all having a great time. Some people are in pain. Some people are hurting. Some people are wandering around making funny faces in the background and don't know to turn off their videos. And that's great, because that's humanity. That's people being people being people together. And I really do believe that's a big part of this. We're being called to redefine what it means to be in relationship, what it means to be a friend, what it means to be a colleague, what it means to be in family. And I've seen stories of whole families opting out, making the transition. An entire family. I've heard stories of 4 members and one member has made it through. They all got the virus. 4 of them made their transition, and 1 of them recovered. We're going to redefine what it means to be together, to be human, to care. And in the future, no one's ever going to have to explain what happened here. We'll all just be able to say, well, back in 2020, I decided to answer my calling. Back in 2020, my business crumbled and I started something new. Back in 2020, I had nothing to hang on to but this one little thread, and I hung on, and this is what got me through. Back in 2020. That day's coming. Day's coming. Maybe a while before we see the real good in all this. I remember when on 9/11, when the towers came down, and I asked a dear friend of mine to, a few of us, a whole bunch of us, actually piled into a classroom and asked the minister, go ahead, explain that. And he did. He did a great job. And what he came to was, I don't know where this is taking us, but I have faith that God's in control. And so my job as a human on the planet at this time is to look for the collateral good. Because there's always going to be, just like the Army uses the term collateral damage. Well, this was a damaging event, and he was asking us to look for the collateral good. And he shared with us that it could take a decade to be able to really see it. It could take a decade or longer before we see the collateral good in this event. It could be a decade or more before we see the collateral good in this. But I have to live in absolute faith and trust that it's happening, that it's there, that there is collateral good happening from this. Perhaps we will reinvent the entire vaccine regimen and perspective on the planet. Perhaps this will change the way drugs and drug manufacturers operate across the planet. Perhaps this will change our environmental laws across the planet. I have to believe this is going to change so many laws across the planet. We're all in this together, folks, and nobody's getting out. And in the bigger picture, nobody gets out alive. So whether someone you know is making that choice to opt out now, to take the hall pass and make that transition into the next dimension of beingness, or whether you're choosing to stick it out and stay here, we're looking for the collateral good. We're looking for how to stay healthy in the midst of this. And that's not just physical. Yes, right now, physical is the most important, but it's not just physical. We got to stay healthy on the emotional level, on the mental level, on the spiritual level. We've got to stay, yes, healthy on the physical. But all the rest, we got to keep feeding our mind. We got to keep feeding our intellect. I saw a great puzzle, just a puzzle on Facebook, and a bunch of numbers, and this means this, and this is allowed, none of these, and that. And it was great fun working on it. And then I called my 14-year-old down, and he took one look at it, went blah, 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 boing, and had the answer. Me, I was still fighting with, well, wait a minute, what the heck is that in there? But it's those kinds of things that keep the mental going. We got to stay healthy on the emotional level. And that means it's okay to cry. It's okay to break down. It's okay to throw up your hands and say F it all. But I'm going to invite you not to build a tent there, not to park your RV there, not to stay there. Feel what's real. Yes. Let those emotions out. Let those emotions be felt and experienced and acknowledged and honored, and then let them go. Stay healthy on the emotional level. Stay connected to those you're emotionally involved with. And then stay healthy on the spiritual level. Find your Sunday morning. Find Wednesday evening. Heck, right now, you can go to church pretty much any day, anytime. Anytime the mood hits you, anytime you decide, you know what, I got a little bit of time here, let's go catch somebody's talk. Let's go catch some music. Who did what? There's a great wealth out there right now of spiritual opportunity. And an opportunity for, again, for you to look within it and learn and determine, what am I learning about myself here? What did I need to know that I wasn't paying attention to a month ago? What do I now recognize as valuable or necessary in my life that I wasn't paying attention to a month ago? Hard to believe it's only a month ago, huh? Just a month ago, I facilitated a memorial service, a celebration of life for a really good longtime friend, younger than me. Always tough to do funerals for people that are younger than me. Less than a month ago, my financial budgets were entirely different. I know a lot of you can relate. And we're still here. And a month from now, we're still going to be here. And the month after that, we're still going to be here. And the month after that, we're still going to be here. And things are going to continue to change along these months. Things that just aren't necessary are going to fall by the wayside. Things that are will be preserved in one way or another. I can't say it's all beautiful and roses and sunshine out there, but I do know that in some way there's good in there somewhere too. I've got to stay true that there's collateral good that's happening right now. So this is Ask a Minister Anything. We've got about 10 minutes or a little more than 10 minutes left here today on this episode. If you have a question you'd like asked or answered, please drop it in the comment box. If you'd like to come on the program live with me, I'll send you a link. You can drop in real quick, real easy. All you do is click the link and show up on camera. We bring you into the episode and let you ask your question or hang out, share whatever it is that's on your heart. If you have a prayer request, please let me know that. I've got my prayer book here. This is never far throughout the day. I'm working with this book several times a day for the prayer requests that people are sending, and I'm happy to do that. So if you have a prayer request, please send that over to revbriz@spiritevolving.com. I will get praying on that right away. So got a little bit of time left, and you know, I always, in the world of ministry, it's said that, you know, always leave your audience wanting just a little bit more, but always help them remember that they can accomplish anything by the end of the day. And that's true. You are capable of anything you desire. There is within you the power, the presence, and the intelligence that's able to bring forth and manifest everything. And I'm going to hold that thought. Kathleen Benjamin asks, what is your message for Easter? Is this the resurrection? You know, Kathleen, it's great that you asked that. And I chuckled just a little because a dear friend of mine dropped in on the program almost 2 hours, about an hour and a half ago, in the early part of the program, and asked how I looked at the crucifixion in light of all of this. And And I want to share the same thing. I believe the story of the crucifixion is really an example of where immature spirituality is unable to see the truth of God's message, and therefore is unable to recognize and see and experience and hear the truth of God, which Jesus represented. I believe today, more than ever, what we are experiencing is very, very similar in that there is a large portion of the population that just, for whatever reason, chose not to grow and mature spiritually. And we bought into things such as division and separation. We bought into lack and limitation. We bought into might is right. We bought into more money is more success, and with more success comes more work. And we bought into a lot of false beliefs, and we stopped listening to the truth. We stopped listening to God's message, to the word of truth. And humanity is right now getting to experience at a planetary level, some of the human suffering that I believe Jesus suffered on the cross. I don't know that this experience is a resurrection of Jesus, the man. But I do believe we are having a resurrection, if you will, a resurgence in an understanding of what it means to be an expression of the Christ consciousness. The consciousness that recognizes the wholeness and the oneness of life. The consciousness that and it recognizes the sacredness of all life. And so I've never been the biggest of Bible guy. It's never been my expertise to interpret Bible stories, and yet it is easy to draw those parallels. So, do we need to go into the cave for 3 days and roll away the stone? It would appear that's what we're doing. Is this a demonstration of Bible story? Perhaps. Are we personally being resurrected or crucified? Yeah. That's based on the level of our own belief. If I believe that this is a great opportunity, a great resurrection, a great revelation of truth, a great opportunity to see the grand vision and the grand image of God's perfect world of peace and harmony on planet Earth, yes. And if I want to experience this as a crucifixion, I can have that experience as well. I believe that it's time more than ever for everyone on the planet that's in any way awakened to turn towards God and turn towards the light, to turn towards prayer, to turn towards truth, to deny the skeptics and deny the haters and deny the conspiracy theories, and to really remember that everybody's doing the best they can. Everybody's doing the best they can with what they have. It's okay to be, it's okay to break down if that's healthy for the emotional body. And I talked about this just a handful of minutes ago. The healing is happening on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. And on the physical level, we have to stay separated from each other for a while to allow this this manifestation of weirdness to pass. On the mental level, we need to stay healthy, read books, play games, do puzzles, do all the things that we do to keep our mind active, to keep our mind moving. It's not just a time to check out and Netflix and binge, right? On the emotional level, we need to stay in touch that sometimes human life just sucks and I need to cry. And that's okay too. And on the spiritual level, we need to consistently provide ourselves with healthy, good, true information on the spiritual level. Yeah, there's a lot of people out right now that want to draw a connection between everything and anything. And what I believe is we are each at the choice point where we can choose heaven or we can choose hell. They're both a creation of our own making, and they're both a creation of our own beliefs and what we cast into the world. I'm choosing to turn to the light. I'm choosing to do everything I can to stay in prayerful contemplation of truth at all times. And when the ugliness of this event throws itself in my face, I have to remember to turn back towards spirit, turn back towards God. And you know, folks, as I look at this, I think we've just got just about enough time to do that, to turn back towards God and move into the rest of our day. So I'm going to move into a place of prayerful repose. I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes as well and just join me in a deep recognition of God, that power, presence, and intelligence that animates itself as all of life. And what I know is I know that one life is God's life. It is perfect, and it is my life now. It is your life now. The oneness of God expresses as your life, as your breath, as your heart beating. And it's doing that as everyone, everywhere, across this entire planet and beyond. Simply know where God is not. In every furry creature, every creepy, crawly creature, wings, scales, feathers, it matters not. Where there is a heartbeat, where there is breath, there is God. And so I know God moving through everyone on this planet, and I know that this planetary experience is a great opportunity to awaken, a great opportunity for revelation, a great opportunity to create. And I know that each one alive on the planet at this time brings a unique set of gifts and skills and talents to this grand masterpiece we are painting together. So I know that everyone on the planet is an absolutely vital expression of God's life. I know those that are leaving the planet and making their transition to leaving behind the human body and making their transition to a greater yet to be, still part of God. Making that move to the next great dimension of livingness. And that is God. And I claim for each one that stays here a deep expression of compassion and love. Knowing it's not easy to watch so many make that transition. Knowing it's especially difficult when it is someone close and near. And still I stay in that deep knowing that it is all God. And I know that the compassion and the love at the human level carries me through. And I look to the one. I look to God. I look to the light. I look to truth. And I rest in a deep sense of assurance that all is well. A deep sense of faith that God's got this. And a deep sense of trust that we are making it through this storm together. that no storm lasts forever, and we shall hug again. And so I am in a space of absolute gratitude for the reminder of this word, for this opportunity this day has brought, for all the good in my life and in my world. Most especially grateful for the connection that this time has provided. It is in that I release this word into the law that is already working upon it, has already said yes to this prayer, and I know God's got it. So I get out of the way, let go of any question about how or why or when. I trust that God's got it, and I let it be. And I affirm that truth by just saying, and so it is. And so it is, dear ones. Thank you so much for being with us, for being here today. I appreciate you. I love you. Do remember morning prayers every day, 8:15 a.m. Mountain Time. Evening prayers, 8:15 p.m. Mountain Time. In between, check out newthoughtradio.net for an inspiring series of music and information, all kinds of positive vibes, and keep your day going. So I'm out of here for today. This show will be back again next Friday, and who knows where you're going to see me online between now and then, because that's where God wants me to be. So I love you. I bless you. I wish you all the best. Stay healthy. Stay home. Until next time, peace and blessings. Bye now.